Hey everyone, welcome. BS 2026, .NET 10, truly an exciting time, right? In this session, we are zooming in on NuGet, a shared ecosystem powered by an amazing community, all of us helping each other build fantastic .NET applications, and the tools that make it easy to contribute and consume packages without friction. In this session, we would like to show how those tools are getting smarter, powered by AI, and how the ecosystem is becoming more trustworthy thanks to the new security features. Let's get into it. Hey, my name is Sean. I'm a product manager with the NuGet team. I'm here along with my teammate and friend, Nicole Che, who is a principal software engineer on NuGet team. We are really excited for this chance to showcase some incredible AI and security features that have come to life over the past few months. First up, NuGet MCP server. This launched just a couple of months ago, and if you haven't tried it yet, this is the go-to tool in Copilot for any prompt that touches NuGet packages. No matter what models you're using or when they were trained, the MCP makes sure your Copilot is working with real-time, comprehensive NuGet package data. That means better updates and smarter coding sessions. Now, let's take the common use case of using Copilot to update package dependencies in a project. We now have the NuGet solver command built into the MCP server. NuGet solver, in case if you're wondering, is basically a tool that can analyze complex dependency graphs and make good suggestions. So that means the NuGet MCP server now gives Copilot the brains to solve complex dependency puzzles without breaking a sweat. Let's go straight to our first demo and see the MCP server in action. I've got a simple console app open in Visual Studio. It's pulling in an older Microsoft.build package, and yep, that warning down below says this version has a vulnerability. All right, let's ask Copilot to fix it. First, we'll try it without the NuGet MCP server. Copilot checks things out and confirms the high severity vulnerability. It suggests running a restore to sort it out. Cool, let's do that. Okay, Microsoft.build is now updated to the latest version, no vulnerabilities. But now we've got two new compatibility warnings. Why? That latest version and a transitive dependency don't play nicely with our .NET 8 project settings. So we fixed one problem and created two more. Classic. Let's do better with the NuGet MCP server. I'm going to turn on the solver command. You can also just enable the whole MCP server if you like. It's the same thing. Let's roll the project back to square one and start it over. Now let's run the same prompt again. This next part is critical. When Copilot asks, allow it to run the NuGet MCP solver command. Updates are done. Run .NET restore. No warnings. Awesome. With the MCP server in the loop, Copilot picked optimal versions across the graph, not necessarily the newest, but the right ones. So we get both vulnerability fixed and compatibility clean. That's the win. All right. So, in summary, how does NuGet MCP make our lives easier? No more manual version juggling. It's perfect if you're working on large solution. So next time you're updating packages, fire up the NuGet MCP server in Visual Studio 2026, VS Code, or GitHub, and let Copilot work out the best packages and dependencies for you. Let's talk about README grounding, another cool command in the NuGet MCP. We know models are trained on collective knowledge on the internet, but for NuGet packages that have just released a new API, there is not enough community discussion, available examples, or implementation tips out there. As a result, if you are looking to leverage the APIs in the latest version of a package, models may disappoint you by giving an outdated implementation. And this is where the MCP server provides Copilot grounding in the latest README. So that makes it easy for Copilot to fulfill your prompt, build your code on the cutting edge API the package has to offer. And that's what our second demo is all about. Let's jump into it and see the MCP server in action again. All right, let's spin up a Sports Assistant app that pulls the latest headlines. This OpenAI NuGet package looks perfect. And up here, you can see it was updated just a few days ago. I want to use the new web search capabilities, the ones in the README under How to Use Web Search with the Responses API. Let's jump into Visual Studio and ask Copilot to write the code. First, I'll run the prompt without MCP, then with MCP, and we'll compare the two versions. Same prompt, same model, apples to apples. Let's do pass one, no MCP. Here, I've got a simple console app called Sports Assistant, no MCP. The NuGet MCP server is off. Prompt goes in, Copilot starts cooking. Let's approve adding the OpenAI package to the project. Now we will let Copilot work through a build failure and resolve it. Okay, first implementation is done. Let's keep this aside and we'll compare it later. Let's do pass two with MCP. New Visual Studio instance, identical console app project. Let's turn on the NuGet MCP server for this run. Same prompt, let's run it. Copilot is asking to run the get latest package NuGet MCP command. Let's allow it. This is the big one. Let's allow the README command so Copilot can read the package guidance. Copilot's now using the MCP server fully. Next, it runs update package to version, following what it just learned from the README. Code generation is finished. Let's compare. I'll open both implementation files side by side in the same Visual Studio instance just to make it easy to compare. Now I'll ask Copilot to compare the two and give me a summary of differences. Notice how the OpenAI API is used only when the NuGet MCP server was turned on. The latest approach, the create web search tool pattern from the README sample, was adopted instead of the older or guessed patterns. So the takeaway is simple. Same prompt, same model, but with NuGet MCP server, Copilot reads the docs, picks the right package version, and emits code that matches the current recommended API. That's how you generate code that is both modern and requires less agentic iterations. All right, your code stays up to date with the latest package versions. With confidence, you can let Copilot do the work. We're adding more capabilities to the MCP server. Secure my repo prompt, for example, will analyze a repository and recommend NuGet features like package source mapping, signature verification, and trusted publisher to keep the repo safe. We're also working on an action that will allow package authors to provide context directly to LLMs about things like breaking changes and how to adopt new APIs. So, if you're asking, how do I get this MCP server? Good news. Visual Studio 2026 out of the box includes NuGet MCP server. So just go ahead and get VS 2026 and you're all set. We're looking into shipping NuGet MCP also with C# dev kit. Stay tuned for that. Many of us are already building or going to build after this conference AI applications in .NET. Let's talk about how NuGet.org is empowering us in that effort. If you've ever tried to share an MCP server before, you know the drill. It was doable, but not exactly a well-paved path. Well, .NET 10 and NuGet.org have changed the game. Let me roll the tape on the next demo so we can check out how easy it is to publish your own .NET MCP server to NuGet.org. For .NET developers, NuGet.org is now even better for publishing MCP servers. To that extent, there are two delightful experiences I would love to highlight today. First, when you publish MCP servers to NuGet.org, they are now discoverable as a distinct package type or category right on the website. That means developers can find your work faster and your MCP server gets the visibility it deserves. Right now, there are already about 100 MCPs in this category, and the list is growing every day. So if you're curious, go ahead and browse NuGet.org and see some of these cool MCP servers. Secondly, creating and publishing your own MCP is super easy thanks to the MCP project template in .NET 10. This is where things get exciting because tooling does most of the heavy lifting for you. Let me show you how quickly you can scaffold an MCP server in Visual Studio and push it to the registry. First, let's make sure the AI templates that include the MCP project template are installed. In Visual Studio, start by creating a new project. Search for MCP and you'll see the local MCP server console app template pop right up. Once the project is created, the auto-generated README is super helpful. It reminds us to customize the package ID and other essential settings before publishing. So here's what I've done. I've updated those settings in the project file and also in the server.json file. These small tweaks make sure your MCP server is uniquely identified and ready for publishing. Now let's build the project. And just to keep things simple for this demo, we will upload the package manually to NuGet.org. Later on, we will explore how to securely push the package from a CI/CD pipeline using the new trusted publishing feature, which is perfect for automated workflows. And just like that, we've gone from zero to publishing an MCP server on NuGet.org in a matter of minutes. As you just saw, we've made it super easy to get started. So go ahead, try it out, and we can't wait to see your MCP servers out on the NuGet.org soon. Okay, from AI, let's switch gears and talk about something that's just as important: security. Last year alone, GitHub detected over 39 million leaked secrets, API keys, credentials, the kind of stuff attackers can exploit in seconds to hijack CI/CD pipelines and poison supply chains. And here's the scary part: 35% of exposed API keys stay active, leaving an open door for privilege escalation and data breaches. But don't worry, we've got you covered. NuGet.org now supports trusted publishing from GitHub Actions. That means no more juggling API keys in your pipeline. Let's check out the demo and see how simple this is to get set up. There are basically two steps to setting up trusted publishing. First, we will set up a GitHub Actions workflow that uses the new trusted publishing pattern to authenticate with NuGet.org. The second part is creating a policy in NuGet.org to allow the GitHub workflow to push packages. Let's do a quick walkthrough. For starters, I've added the MCP server project that we previously created to this GitHub repo. I assigned the GitHub Copilot coding agent a task to go create the GitHub Actions workflow. Not only the coding agent created the workflow, it was smart enough to give me the correct next steps to finish the job, which is setting up policy on NuGet.org. Before we go do those steps, let's take a closer look at the workflow with the legacy and the trusted publishing methods side by side. The legacy auth pattern uses a long-lived API key that is stored as a secret and retrieved at publishing. Notice that the steps in trusted publishing do not store a token. Let's set up a trusted publishing policy on NuGet.org. Once you're signed in, right on the main menu, you'll notice there is a new trusted publishing option available. Let's create a new policy. Supply it with the names of the repo and the workflow that will push packages under this account. Let's run the workflow, check the details. The authentication step shows the correct OIDC token exchange approach was used to retrieve a key, and the package push is successful. Quick, clean, and secure. Okay, Next up, I would like to invite my friend, Nicole Che, to tell us about what's happening in the NuGet audit space. Take it away.
Thanks, Sean. So today I want to talk to you about the latest improvements in NuGet Audit. Let's start with a bit of history. In .NET 8, we introduced vulnerability auditing at restore time, which would raise warnings for vulnerabilities in direct packages in all package reference projects. Since then, we've been hard at work making additional improvements, like we've shipped features such as audit sources, vulnerability suppressions, and .NET UI. In .NET 10, we're taking it a step further. For projects starting in .NET 10, vulnerability auditing will now be raising vulnerabilities for transitive packages as well. It will effectively be defaulting projects that target .NET 10 to NuGet audit mode all. This is very important because projects usually have way more transitive packages than they do direct ones. And addressing the vulnerabilities in those packages is critical for keeping your application secure. Okay, so now let's talk about fixing vulnerabilities in audit. Transition, please. When you encounter a vulnerability in direct package, the solution is straightforward. You just go and you update that package. When you encounter a vulnerability in transitive package, however, we recommend that you update the direct package that is bringing in those transitive dependencies. If it is not available, then you should be favoring updating the closest package to your direct package. Now you might be wondering, okay, how do I figure out which package that is? Well, thankfully, we have lots of ways to do that. Let's go through a few. First up, let's look at the next slide, please. Let's look at spotting vulnerabilities using this project. So this project is starting in .NET 10, has a couple of package references, and it has a vulnerability in use of JSON. To figure out which direct package brought in use of JSON, we can use, for example, Solution Explorer. Next slide, please. The Solution Explorer has warning icons. So if you just go to the Solution Explorer and you click expand, eventually you will get to use of JSON, and you'll now know which direct package brought that in. If you prefer using the Package Manager UI, which is going to be right on the next slide, you can just open the Package Manager UI, and you would hover over use of JSON with vulnerability, and that little hover is gonna give you the ID of the package that is bringing in those transitive dependencies. Finally, if you're a CLI person, you can use .NET UI. You would just pass the project path and the ID, and it'll just draw you a nice graph. Now that we've kind of discovered what direct package has brought in the transitive dependencies, let's talk about fixing these dependencies. I'm not going to go over what Sean already showed. Like, we can already use the MCP server. That's one really cool way that we added in VS 2026 to fix vulnerabilities. A thing I want to show you is the .NET package update command. If you take that command and you run it on a project and you pass a -- vulnerable option, it will update the package that is vulnerable. In this case, it will add it as a direct dependency. Finally, I want to talk to you about reducing false positives in NuGet Audit. The feature that does that is called package printing. As .NET has evolved, the platform now includes a comprehensive set of APIs by default. Like, for example, system text JSON is available as both a package and part of the platform. It is not uncommon that you end up with a project that ends up with a package reference like in system text JSON. The build has known for a long time to pick the latest one. We have taken those smarts from the build and put them into restore. What restore will do now is it will take it will see that the project is starting in .NET 10 and a version 804 system text JSON. It will just take that away. By reducing the number of downloaded packages, restore will improve the performance. If we refer to the project the previous project that we ran the demo on the left side, we can see what happens when you have the project in question with pruning enabled. We have one vulnerability, which is in use of JSON, and we have maybe like 6 or 7 transitive packages. On the right side, if I disable pruning, you'll see that I have 3 vulnerabilities and a countless number of transitive dependencies, which are too many to name. In summary, package pruning will help keep your project dependencies clean and reduce noise from unnecessary vulnerability warnings. Uh, that's all I have. Now I'll hand it back to Sean to discuss sponsorships on NuGet.org.
Thank you, Nicole. I'm learning more about audit every day. That was awesome. All right. We've talked about security and publishing workflows. Now let's shift gears to something that's all about community and support. Ever wonder if the maintainers behind your favorite NuGet packages need help to sustain? Well, now you can easily find out and help because sponsorship feature is now live on NuGet.org. Here's the idea. Package maintainers can add their funding links right into their NuGet package settings on NuGet.org, and when you browse that package, you will see a sponsor button, making it easy to support the people who empower you with their expertise. Let's take a quick visual tour. The new sponsorship feature became available on NuGet.org in late October, and within a couple of weeks, already nearly 1,000 packages are utilizing the sponsor option. Let's check out how maintainers can add sponsor links to their packages, and consumers can discover and support them. As a maintainer, once I'm signed into NuGet.org, I go to Manage Packages and choose the package I want to get funding for. Sponsorship links is a new section available under here. I can add direct links to my sponsor page on one or more of these 6 sponsoring platforms. That's it. Remember, these links are not version specific. They are global to the package and are stored on NuGet.org. So your sponsor links remain up to date even if a user is looking at an older version of the package. As a consumer, when I visit the details page of one of my favorite packages, I see a sponsor button on the right rail in the About section. It appears only if the maintainer has set up at least one sponsorship link. Selecting the sponsor link shows me all the sponsorship platforms where the maintainer is accepting support. Click on one of them, and boom, you are taken straight to the maintainer's funding page. No hunting around, no guessing, very easy to show support. You're safe because NuGet.org only allows a select list of well established funding platforms. All right. On a side note, we've gotten great feedback to enable sponsorship at org or user level. We are going to explore that in the next quarter. We all know great software doesn't just happen, it's built and maintained by real people. So, whenever you save time by grabbing a package, you can also give back to the folks who make it possible. So, that's the tour. From getting the best out of coding agents for NuGet packages to easily building and sharing MCPs to safer publishing to making it easy to catch CVEs and even supporting the folks who make your favorite packages, NuGet is leveling up big time through AI and security. Go try these features today and let's keep building amazing stuff on .NET together. I hope you enjoyed the session. On behalf of me and Nicole and the NuGet team, thanks for joining. Have a great rest of the conference.